Walage, halage, nalage, godeno, tiniya, Kawthoolei Today, order that loso, le order draga, miweda le recharge, hambly, no, awake hair, te Bahado, US election, the Q to Kisi, Yatauta, dog burger update community burger, the Hiweda information. Le pokoknya pote pa kamalu tirota le ta khutha mono ko le democracy ta khutha the US ne ake wo mata dile do wala amana da phami ki wala shuda phami ki mono party de pure ta utta do agar khani ne awe baga te to ko weda chumenya American le ni weda ko ko torga I policy ra system ne lo no kai ne ba gwemu weda badratini do bada richa le ta te to ko ha ne lo no kita su kana to ko no hi dini
Hai, Melana, where to clear it does go like a lot of our Pagana Chap, we are to you at Ragaimana. Our throw rich and Miwed are through Lolly Gana, but no papa interview at Hanya Kawthoolei Today Lane. Aware meet where Mary Lolly Ga, the Oda Lola say, the when at a couple back at election, or all dunya, aware. Let the third panapacone, at a sequel at that tea at a patala election our 2020 kilo kichi to Blanyamana, the Laweta Lecopla Puki, so at a level Shani, Telecoplo, Telepuki, the Delicate Chow Jalamana. Hello, Mr. Richard. Tonight, I would like to thank you for joining us tonight and also appreciate you a lot. So, first of all, I would like to introduce you a little bit about. I know a little bit about you because your background is the Marine, like Army, Marine, serving the country, and also you serve a lot of community, Korean community, Chin community, refugee community. You help a lot of people. Also, you volunteer at church, so you do everything you can right now. So, like I see, you're a really good person, and also you have a lot of experience about election. So tonight the topic we want to talk to you about is election. Like we know you have a lot of experience, so we want you to share a little bit about your experience about election in 2020. So if you can you explain a little bit more? Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? That you continue explain a little bit more about election. What is your opinion? How do you feel? How's going with the election 2020?
Yes, thank you, and I appreciate this opportunity to speak to everybody. I am Richard Hambley, as Tina said. I did 8.5 years in the Marine Corps before I was medically discharged from the wounds I received. From there, I worked at the VA, the Veterans Administration, for 18 years as the system administrator. I ran the mainframe computer systems for the VA. And then from there, I'm doing a construction company, and also I help with, as Teeny said, with the local church that are Myanmar refugees that are assigned into the area of Charlotte, North Carolina here. And we have 9 different languages within the church, your language being one of them. The election in 2020 has been very interesting. The entire process, because of COVID-19, the world pandemic that has happened, has changed the way we've done elections in America. The mail-in ballots is something we have never done to such a big scale. Normally, the mail-in ballots were only done if you were going to be unable to go in person to vote. Then you would request a ballot to be sent to you. But what they did this year is they sent ballots in some states to everybody, whether they requested them or not. And that's why you've heard a lot about the possibility of being fraud and other things that could happen, because it wasn't I asked for it, I received it, I mailed it back. It's just everyone got a copy. The election itself, there's 2 major parties in the U.S. You got the Democrats the Republicans, then you got the Libertarians and the Green parties. But the only two real parties are the Republicans and Democrats. I'm also a father of 5 girls that are all grown now. And the way I always describe to them the difference between a Republican and a Democrat is that Republicans believe that you should be responsible for yourself, that you would take care of yourself, you would go out and work and do what is necessary to take care of yourself. Democrats lean more true that the government is more responsible for you and making sure that you are happy and making sure that you have housing, making sure that you have life insurance or health insurance, etc. All right, that's the major simplified definition of the difference between the two parties. And it's extreme because you got the ones who want everything for free, and then you got the ones that are working for what they have. Now, the 2020 election, it has been, the journalists have called it for Biden as the president-elect is what we call it, because he doesn't actually take office until January. But he hasn't been elected yet either. All right. So at the polling stations, when we go to vote on November the 3rd, which is where it's written into law, our voting when we vote. And then after that, we have what we called, because everybody, when the United States first started, you couldn't count votes in where everybody is. Like I'm in Charlotte, we have people here in California, etc. So what they would do is they have what we call electoral college. All right, so each state, depending on their population, gets so many votes. So when the people from each state votes for the president, then the electoral college, like in North Carolina, I believe we have 15 representatives of electoral college. That's why you keep hearing about the magical number of 270 votes. All right, so as you win a state, then the electoral college, like in North Carolina, the 15 votes, President Trump won North Carolina. So the 15 votes would go to President Trump in the electoral college. The college doesn't meet until in the middle of December. So the election is not decided yet. And part of that is to give people time to make sure that everything was done properly. You probably heard about a lot of lawsuits that are happening here. There's some challenges on how things took place because we had so many mail-in ballots that we've never had before. There are duplicate voters, etc. So this gives time for everybody to count and to recount to make sure that they got their all their votes correct. In essence, right now, although they say that President-elect Biden has been elected, he has not. That is not the way the American system works. He's just has enough votes, possibly, but those votes could change. Georgia haven't decided yet. So until the state actually releases their numbers after they've been verified, after they've been challenged, if they're going to be challenged, then the votes could change and President-elect Biden could actually no longer be President-elect Biden. It could be Trump again, according to, and that is a very good possibility. So the election is far from finished, and it's a difficult process. But what we like in America is one person, one vote, and that's why it takes so long to process everything.
All right, thank you for explanation. So, and also, I heard about this election. There are so many people are excited, like it's totally different than before? Like a lot of people vote, and so is that like so the election before is not a lot of people are excited like when 2012 like 16 or like before election. Can you tell us a little bit how the people feel about the election? Like your family, your relative, the people that you know.
Yes, this election has been very unique in that situation, to the point that Trump is a very divided type person. You either like him or you don't. Trump is not a politician. He's not a smooth, what we call a smooth talker, someone that tries to be friends with everybody. Trump tells it the way it is, and that rubs a lot of people wrong. If I come up and tell you, for example, Teeny, you are wrong, you're doing this wrong, period, that would be like Trump would do. A politician would say, Teeny, maybe there's a different way we can do this. All right, so that sort of divides people, because some people like to be talked to as what we call in America man to man, straightforward. You tell me if I'm messing up, you tell me that I'm messing up, and then we'll discuss it, and then we'll come to a conclusion. Others like it to be smooth, and so a lot of the friction that we have is two things. One is that they don't like Trump because he's not a politician and he states it the way it really is. Two is that the millennium, the younger crowds, the problem that we have in America is that we always want our kids to have more than what we have. So we're constantly giving them more and more. When I was 16 years old, I did not get a car. I had to go out and work and buy my own car. But nowadays, kids turning 16, they expect the parents to give them a car. And not just give them any car, give them the car they want and the color that they want. You know, they've gotten so used to everything being instantly gratification, given to them instantly. And that's just not society the way it really works in the real world. So a lot of the younger generations do not understand this. So they expect things to be handed to them because their parents have given them. And that's partly the Democrats' way of thinking is, I'm responsible for you. The problem with someone being responsible for me, Teeny, just like your children, you're responsible for your children. You feed them, you clothe them, you tell them when they can go and play, but you can also tell them that they can't go and play. All right. So when someone is in control, like in your country with a more of a dictatorship type of ruling, you do as I say, then that's when, and that's where we are right now. We got the people who believe that I should take care of myself. Then on the other hand, you got the people who say, hey, give me all the free stuff. And that's the, you know, the difference between the two at this time. To compound all that, as I said earlier, is the COVID-19. The COVID-19 is a real virus, but it's really, it's a super flu. We have, in the United States alone, we have 38 million that get the flu each year. We're not even at 2 million that has gotten COVID. We have over 68,000 that die of the flu each year. Right now, we got 200,000, a little short of 200,000 that died. So it's very similar to the flu, but they built this up so much that people are scared of each other. I would never thought in America, where churches are free to practice religion, that the government could shut a church down, but they did. Now, when I go to the grocery store or go out, I have to wear a mask. And then people will actually move away from you. That's not America. We're normally get close. We keep our distance, but we don't actually go around each other. That's never happened. So this 2020 has been different. I'm 61 years old. I don't mind telling you, and I've never seen the country the way it is today.
Yep. And I can totally understand about that point. Like some people are really scared of the COVID-19 and some people are see like just a regular flu. But as far as we understand, this is the new virus that we don't have the medicine, or we call that the antibiotic or kill this virus. But anyways, as we know that the Democrat claim that they have a better way to handle the COVID-19 pandemic crisis rather than the Trump administration. So, in your opinion, what do you think? What kind of system that the Democrat or the winning president, we can call it the Biden administration, are going to handle this case? As a U.S. citizen, what kind of information that you receive, and then how they're going to handle it?
So far, the Biden administration has put out some guidelines on how they're going to attack the COVID-19 virus, which is identical to what President Trump is doing now, because it's a virus. It's not something we can just do away with. It's not an easy fix. We've had the flu for how many years? A couple hundred years the flu's been around, and it still kills people. It's still here. The COVID-19 virus will just have to run its process just like the flu does. People, unfortunately, will die. But it's no different than they had the swine flu back in 2000 during Biden and Obama and Biden's presidency. They had the swine flu. It was not as deadly as the COVID flu, but it was something that just had to run its course. COVID-19 is the same way. There is no magical thing. Just this today, Pfizer, which is a German company, has just announced that they have a vaccination for the COVID that is 90% effective. But until then, there's really not much. I don't see, when I read the Biden's proposal and I read what's been happening, it's the same thing. Keep 6 feet apart. Keep a mask on. If you don't need to go out, don't go out. Take care of the elderly, which are more prone to getting sick and dying. What's made the COVID-19 such a big topic in the U.S., and a lot of people believe that a lot of the deaths are not truly COVID deaths, but a hospital gets $38,000 for each COVID patient that they have. So if you come in with a cough or a cold or the flu, then they were going to say that it's COVID because they get extra money, $38,000 to take care of you. And all you have is the flu, which they get no money for. So that has what has really spiked the problem here in the U.S. more than anything, is that the government is giving away money, and everybody wants a piece of that.
Yes. And also we want to know, because the relationship between Myanmar and the US at the Obama administration, as far as we know that they have a good relationship with Myanmar, but when Trump administration, we see that their relationship have a drop, or maybe Trump not really interested in the poor country like Myanmar. So what about the Biden administration? Do you think that their relationship will come back, or how?
That is a interesting question, because he has not addressed any of his foreign policies. Once again, it would probably, my gut feeling, it probably would be better for y'all because he is a politician, where Trump is a businessman. He looks at what is best for the country. That's why we pulled out of a lot of the peace, climate control, climate accord, and some of these other things that Trump has pulled out, because business-wise, it's not a good deal for America. We're just paying money to other people, and Trump has started to have the UN actually pay to help us defend other countries. If Myanmar went into a full civil war and massive, more than genocide that's going on now, but massive, I think Trump would come into your rescue. But I think you would probably find more favorable conditions under Biden than under Trump in that case.
Right. And also another case is that in the Obama administration, we know that they accept or welcome 100,000 refugees, including the current or the refugees from Myanmar. And the Trump administration has been stopped for a while, and now it's become the Biden administration again. So what do you think about the situation for the refugees or immigrants? Are they going to be reopen the border or welcome more refugees for this coming Biden administration?
Yes and no. A lot of the problems with the immigration is that our Senate and Congress have never taken up true immigration reforms. What does that mean right now? As long as you're on the U.S. soil and you have a child, that child is a U.S. citizen. There's a push that no, you have to be a citizen for your children to be a citizen. The other thing is that a Biden administration, we have 68 million illegals or undocumented immigrants, mainly from Mexico and that area down there that has come across the border illegally, where the Myanmar people have come as refugees. They've come the proper way, and that's why they get a green card and a path to citizenship. What Obama wants to do is just take all these ones that have broken U.S. laws and make them citizens. And a bunch of America, over 50% of America, says that's not right. They came here illegal. Get in line, just like the Myanmar people had to be vetted and then come as refugees. If you want to come to the U.S., our borders are open. We are welcoming people to come into our country, but do it legally. Don't, in the middle of the night, run across the border. And then not report your taxes. That's a big problem. I am the owner and president of a construction company also here in Charlotte. And that's one of our biggest problems, that we have so many undocumented people here that work what we call work under the table. They want to be paid cash. They don't want it to be documented that they received the money. So they don't pay taxes, but they use the hospitals and other things that the taxes actually subsidize. So that's a big problem. Immigration, the United States was built on immigration. We believe in immigration, but we believe that it should be done properly. So like what Myanmar, when you come from the nine plus camps in Thailand, and there's some up in Malaysia, I believe. But as you get vetted and then come legally, that's what we want.
Right. Okay. Now I think we have to focus more on the refugees who resettle in the U.S. And as we know that you have a lot of experience to work with the refugees and how they integrated in this U.S. society, like according to your opinion, what kind of system and how they integrated and how they learn to live their life the way as the U.S. citizen.
Yes, ma'am. The Myanmar people that I've worked with have the desire to assimilate or become part of the American society. They want to become citizens. And this is different than the other groups. They actually do want to become citizens. They do want to participate in the way the U.S. runs and functions. I am so proud of the Myanmar people, their work ethics, the way they work, the way they just function in general. and the help they, if they know someone in need, they go and help them. It's just a beautiful relationship. I wouldn't mind half of Charlotte being Myanmar refugees. I think it would be a better place. Your hearts and your kindness, your willingness to work and to help your fellow men and women is tremendous. And I cannot say enough from what I've seen in the ones that I've worked with is tremendous. I'm so proud of y'all that I'm having trouble actually saying the words. I mean, it's totally different than a lot of the other refugees that we've had, where y'all want to be part of society. You want to make America better, and in all aspects of take your thing. And the ones that the Myanmar refugees I work with, I tell them all, become American, but never forget your culture. You need to teach your culture to your children. Carry that on forward. But take the good parts of America and leave the bad parts out.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your appreciations. Well, we also have another question about the Biden administration. Like, we know that in US there are a lot of gun violence, like in the school. Like, how safe the policy for the Biden administration? If you have any information that you can share. So, as immigrants or refugees, we might afraid of, because we were from the war zone, and then this is thing that we also worry for our kid, that's to be safe to go to school. So what action will be the Biden administration take to reduce the gun violence in the school or in the society?
All right. We have millions and millions of kids going to school, hundreds of millions. And out of that hundreds of millions, in the last 10 years, there only been maybe 40 that have been killed. So the ratio of safety is not there. But once again, in America, we have a saying with our journalists: if it bleeds, it leads. They push these stories more than what they really are. We do not. Biden's, we don't have massive school shootings. We have a few. I think there's only been like 4 or 5 in the last 10 years or more. And they've all been, a few people that were killed. It's sad that any kid is killed. That, I'm not arguing that point. Most of it is that every one of those, they had mental issues that contributed to the shootings. Gun rights is a fundamental thing that America has always had, that every U.S. citizen has the right to possess a firearm. The reason our founding fathers put that in the Constitution, the Second Amendment, is the freedom to carry a firearm. And that was to make sure that the government doesn't have dictator control. That's why, if you notice, U.S. has never fought a war on its own shores. There's never been a war from outside. I mean, I'm not counting the Civil War, but there's never been a war where Germany came over here, or Russia, or Myanmar, any country, because they know that every American could be armed. So you're not just fighting the army, you would be fighting every citizen. Now, what Biden gun control is that he wants to take all the guns. Well, the problem with that, if you take all the guns, then the only ones that will have guns would be the government. And then we would run into situations of dictatorship. I'm unable to defend myself if the government decides to do something that is not right. But what happens is that the news people just keep pushing these issues that, one person got killed or this and that. just so that they can push that agenda. When you actually look at the violence of people that are killed with guns compared to other countries, I mean, Britain, they don't have guns. But look how many people are killed with knives and machetes and swords over there. That almost equals how many people are killed here with guns. But you know, the U.S., the newspapers and television journalists and all are more liberal, and so they want to push that liberal agenda. As you can tell, I am not anti-gun. I believe that guns do not kill. You know, there's never been a gun laying on the desk that killed someone. You know, it's people that kill people.
Right.
You know, and if I set in my mind to kill someone, I don't need a gun. I can get a knife like they do in Britain and others. You hear about all the time in Israel and the others, the knife attacks and all. So guns are not really the problem. It's just journalists making it a big deal because if it bleeds, it leads.
Right.
Same as Black Lives Matter. You know, Black Lives Matter, they talk about the violence of the African Americans or blacks in America being killed. There's only been 9 black people killed by police officers. 9. But see, they promote that so much and they push that agenda. There have been more whites killed by police officers than there have been blacks. But see, that doesn't fit the agenda of the news people. So they push the blacks are being killed in systematic racism, and it's just not there. It's just being over-reported.
Right. I just got a few comments from our live chat, and then they say that, do you know Korean people? Like, what they mean is, even though we might address that we are from Myanmar, but we are so proud to present ourselves as a Karen or Waginyo, and then we are so happy that people see us as Karen instead of to call us like Myanmar people. So that is how our Karen people respect it very, very highly. Like, we want people to see us as a Karen people. Tonight, mostly we translated in Karen to our mother tongue, but because of just a small discussion, so we didn't translate it, but maybe I just warm up at the end of our conversation. But anyways, I have one comment said that Biden is not elected yet.
Correct.
Only media and then his supporter say he is the president. So when exactly we will know the result, that who going to be the next president of the United States?
When the Electoral College, remember I explained that each state, each individual votes, and then their votes are tallied within their state. And then, like I said, in North Carolina, we have 15 Electoral College. Then each state has different ones. Pennsylvania, you've been hearing a lot about Pennsylvania. They have 20 Electoral College because they have more people than North Carolina. That will be met in the middle of December. They will meet in the middle of December, and then they will cast their votes. Now, some states, if depending on the populace, how the people, the main people voted, like North Carolina went to Trump, if all of those people, those 15 delegates would all go towards Trump. In some states, the Electoral College can make their own minds up and vote either way they want to vote. So not until December the 15th or middle of December sometime will we actually officially know who won the election.
Thank you. Tini, do you have any other question that you want to ask?
Yeah. Do you have any concern about the people who are supported Trump or who are supported Biden? Do you think whoever wins is gonna cause a problem or just similar like before?
At this time, because the journalists have called Biden, after we go through the recounts, some states have to do automatic recounts because the votes were too close. They have to recount them all, and a lot of times that could change. In Michigan, in Michigan, they've already found a computer error that shifted 6,000 votes to Trump, and that county turned from Biden to Trump, won that county. So that's why the election's not over until all the recounts are done. Yes, I think there could be a possibility of a major issues in the U.S. concerning that because, just like we've been saying, President-elect Biden. Well, he's not President-elect Biden, but a lot of people already think he is. So if there's enough votes that are flipped around and Trump actually is the true winner, then yes, all those half of the United States voted for Trump, half of them voted for Biden. One half of the U.S. is not going to be happy. And so, yes, I do believe there will be some violence, and that's why I tell anybody I can, when this happens, just especially stay away from downtown areas and just, mind your own business and don't get into political discussions except with people you know.
Okay, I have another question. Do you know how many ethnic people from Burma you working with? Can you tell us a little bit about that? Like, what is the difference?
One more time, how many different groups?
Ethnic, like minority people from Burma. Like, how many different tribes from Burma you working with? You get to know.
Yes, I'm working with between 9 and 11 different language groups is the way I phrase it. It's hard for us in America to understand the difference. Like each one of the Karen state, the Chin state, all these different states, and you have different languages. Like in the United States, we have 50 states, but we all have one common language. So it's between 9 to 11 different language groups, and each one of them was very proud. And that's another thing, like the young lady said earlier. Karen people are very, if I'm pronouncing that right, please forgive me if I'm not. The Karen group is a very proud group, and same as the other language groups from Burma or Myanmar. It's just easier for us in America to put you all in a group called Myanmar, instead of saying the Karen group. Like in the one I work with, the three majors: Mizo, Karen, Zomi, Matu, Mo, I think. There's 9 different languages there, 9 to 11 different languages. So it's just easier to group it as the Myanmar refugees. But yes, I do understand that there are differences, and each group has their own history, their own practices and traditions, and are very proud people. And that's one thing that I am. We don't get that in America because we're all the same as far as we're concerned. But I am proud. Like when I'm in Nevada, people say, "Oh, you talk a little different." I said, "Yeah, I'm from North Carolina." Where like you say, I'm a Karen. I'm not Myanmar. I'm Karen. Well, I'm North Carolinian. I'm from North Carolina. But y'all are more proud in that area than America because we've just blended everybody together. As they say, we are the melting pot of the world. Every nation in the world is represented in the United States.
Right. I think we have run out of our time. We go like 30 minutes, but now we are a little bit over. But anyways, we would like to thank you so much for bringing up your opinion. And there is no right and wrong. That's we understand, and we will any words that you want to say before we say goodbye to our audience or
Well,
night.
I would like to thank you for the opportunity to explain a little bit about the U.S., the way that our elections work. And I cannot express enough how proud I am to work with the different language groups within the Myanmar country, the Mizo, the Karen, the Zomi, and Motu, and etc. You're a delightful bunch of people, and I wish America was more like y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, and then I will conclude this. And if you would like to, yeah, it's fine. And I'm just going to conclude or summarize it in Korean a little bit afterward. And then, yeah, thank
Thank
you.
you very much for the invite.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
You'll have a wonderful evening.
Thanks. Tablo malono hanya ipa kiknya ba wala agna pa ko de mono pa klase huweda wala ke head update weda US election mono la ba nyo klami ge la kluga klami ge mono mi oro ga ne se klo ba do ko today do ta khudu lo ko ada opinion me ado ha share me ado ha te pya a tho ta le ado ta le bre tinya ba dit pha lo so ta le bo kwa ge nyo community kwa ge nyo to wo bu mono when you go move up ko ade le ka shoro atachi do ka shoro se ko wala ka te pha aro ba ka US election age le ka nyok lo no do agar kai ne ba siblu ba ki wada recharge no la we he do makluma da ta te ya ko ne ba na pa mo no pa no do wada pagadiala the milo oku ko to lo ko party la cha we puri ko tro lo mo ni apa mi ne ashu ya ne wede odo ga jara we opinion mo no apo ne ba ko mo ba wala aga la analyze commune ga hiro ta ti la ga balance weda ta ti mo no commune la neutral opinion me one no ba ko mo ba ko de lo no da hanya ne ko de today exhibit ba ko na ko de do ba ta na hi ba mo de mo no ta bu mala
Apo era bo patinya ra chepon na.
Go ahead.
Where tabo patinya ra chepon na pale para ter phane na pale share video ter phane na. When the thiba wale Facebook page ne pa raise wa mani or khama na. Pa raise wa chi or kha ne pa turo ram na wala ne pa tasa na pera tene pa tasa me ge pale pa chuko me pale thila ko me pale ko awe lo chile pa raise khane mera pa so la pale ko khuni pata ka so ter phane go mana pa no ne me pa support ten de khone pa ba here training na so ra le ke hini ba training na ke ne pa ba ma cho tabu da ta internet la ter connection la ta ter phane ko me pa ba cover che je pa chu khona ke mana le pa chu khole ko ma lo ba le journalist pa hi ta so pa ter phane ko ma lo da go na ke ne lo ba ta chothe ma che je akhone pa web Kawthoolei Today ne pa lo ba na su ko ga de ta chot thwe ti sa le pa ta so ne ka le ta le click na pa ma ko da pu ka a tho che mana akone ta le bulo sine o do tu nya pa ka ba ka te ka to ni pa khu da so po camera me ge phone me ge ta se phan internet me ge mana khone pa lo ba na su da chot thwe ma che je te me thine pa ma ko da po de pa ki pa o la le pa khale Facebook live da interview da pa ma che ko ma ta ka so le ka da ku ko click ti ti phan ne pa sa khit le ba la ki mana pa me da se ya ta ka so le ka da le ko che tu ka la ta le ka ta che ti pe ta le era ka da pa nya po te me da se ya blog blog ne pa lo ba ta chot ma che ji mana ta le pa ta sa te phan ne pa ma ko ga ne me volunteer la mana ko ne pe la le te pa ma ni no ga ba ne le pa ma che le ta le bu le che phan la mana ko ni ti nya tu cha ni mana ta le
tabula tini la te tino ha giwa mono weda ko tule tu ne baglesa hu ana weda kwa tasa ta chu ma ta kora do kwa la ta hudak ta cha ta so ta hudak so mono ike ne ba tinya la kwa tasa aga edo nulo ma ta kora de kwa basa batagi si basa odi da chini te to ne ba ko organize weda training la no ka sa mono la physical ne organize ne ba Koblo le bajir oji ba lor da ba awara โอ้ที่ก็บิดนี่ยีหมอคนนี่ปกมาแล้วออนไลน์ปตระละที่หลอตาเลคอมมูนิตี้กว่าบุกว่าเลยนอตบาบานะโอลีนะเกดูดินะตาเลบอกทอดทรนิดิพานี่แต่เราชอบทั่วมาเจอวันเดลอินเทอร์เน็ตเลมเนาะอินเทอร์เน็ตเลมเนี่ยมีละอาจจะไปเนี่ยนะเกี่ยวกับเรื่องประชุมว่าเป็นมีเรสว่าจีมีเนี่ยกับมีคนเดียวที่ตาลบุลสีจะจะมวยแล้วก็เลย practice whether a skill mono comme ma lowe wi que le le feel que do da wa mu lo da que shoro le life di mono apo ne bo do ta to ta kle be ba de to ne this is a very low budget training la ni da the mi le ta a ba mo da je to mwe bo la ya mo no ko ne ba kwe mu ba kwa le ta chu do cho ma je ba ta ta ma de pa do ka di ba ni ba wala edo lo ula tu ko ga de pa mo no ja to lo bata sa mi gi la ta le khop lo o mi gi le do te lo ta so mi gi edo interview kwa ga nya mi gi ni no awada parisi boda de kwa ko to le today do ka discuss wada ta pita ma le ba ma ta ko chu mi nya mo no lo ba ka aga no lo ba journalist lo ba presenter lo ba reporter lo ba awe marketing community kwa le ka khu ara ne kwa close marketing manager lo ba nya aga le ka ma ta ko ra mo no the blog da wa me ki pe ba ro ko wa ka ble tho ke yo li no a ko ne blog ko me to na to le ka te lo ra yi no ba me ta he tu ro li yo ko ne ba ma le ta me yan pu a lo ko ne ba ka cho ra we la wa ta sa le tu chu da chu no ni no da chu se ko ba kwa no ba ready le ba ka hi tu ta le ba hi ti dir phai lo no ya
ta blue che wa ba ki pa kwa ko wa den ti man ne ke puri puda usu pe ko wa den na ta be na
ta blue usu la sai